welcome to RTX Pinball, and this is the episode. This is episode 12 now of the Pinball Post. Welcome being here. Good to be here. We got lots to talk about this week about all the stuff happening in the pinball world. It's kind of crazy, all the stuff that's going on. So lots, and some big announcements. We'll keep them a surprise just a little bit longer. Some of you probably already know everything, but we're gonna go over it anyway and wrap up this week of all the stuff that's going on. Let's get into the chat first. The Beamy Pinball Wizard 2023, welcome being here. Good evening, everyone. Make sure you thumbs up the video for RTX. Appreciate that. Rodley Smith. So they haven't fixed up yet? Oh, Rodley, I'm so sorry, man. It's just not seeming to take place just fast enough. What a debut that was. Playing against your best the state offered and going toe-to-toe with him. Yes, thank you, Beamy. He's referring to the fact that I played a IFPA event for the first time yesterday. Played for about 12 hours from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Against some really good players. Four of my losses were to people within the top 1,200 in the entire world of the 140 registered IFPA players, so it was a fantastic event. I did a whole video on it earlier if you're interested in that, chronicling my entire experience, and I definitely recommend you guys checking it out. I did get some rest today. I was yawning during that video this morning and really struggling. I took another nap, got some good food, watched the Lions, so it's been good. But new firmware being tested, hasn't been released to the public yet. I may be wrong. RTX may have the latest info. I have not heard anything about firmware. We're just kind of going by the seat of our pants at this point. Pinball Wizard. Hello, Retro. Greetings, everyone from Chalada Love and the Beamy. Your big announcement was you on the video today. Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. There's that. So, yes. So we got lots to talk about. Let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about firmware. That's always something we have to talk about. Firmware this week really didn't do much. The one big announcement that we got as far as firmware is that things are progressing. We never got an announcement officially that they're still working on stuff. We got one last week that we covered. But the one thing they did talk about real briefly, which was kind of nice, kind of bad, depending on how you look at it. I don't think it's a bad thing, certainly. But Flipper Friends is back. So that was a big announcement this week. So what that symbolizes to me is that the server issues that they've had are minor enough that they feel like they're it's a big enough improvement that they can actually run events with regularity and some consistency. So Flipper Friends is back. We got HD and 4K ability this week, and those are up and running, so that was really cool to see. It says starting this week, we're bringing Flipper Friends back to the tournaments. Whether you're playing on the 4K or HD, the fun is about to begin. The funny part with this is they said it returns tomorrow, 9/25, but they actually said that on 9/25, and the next day was going to be the 26th. So they still didn't proofread very good. But anyway, that was pretty funny to see. But who cares? It's a minor typo, and depending on where they were in the world, if they were actually writing it from Japan, there's a possibility that it actually was the 26th, and just depending on the time zones and different things like that. So who cares? It is what it is. Flipper Friends is back. What do you guys think? I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts in. I did a little quick poll on my YouTube channel just to see what people thought. I was surprised to see a lot of people weren't really interested in Flipper Friends at all. They found new options, or they just didn't care altogether. I definitely placed some scores on Friday night, and that was something that I went ahead and did. I will jump into the PhilPal real quick to kind of show you where we're at with Flipper Friends. It was interesting to at least check it out. Things are up and running again, so that's really cool to see. Let's jump into it. Okay, so we'll jump back over. So here is the current scores for the 4K side. You see we have Speed King, 1 Fish, 2 Fish, Egypt, Williams No Good Gophers, and Williams Who Done It. Now, what's interesting here, and I don't think this has gotten enough credit. Welcome Human and Dennis B to the chat. I'm here now. The choke can start. Yes, sir. Now I can. So the interesting thing about this is what's missing about these 5 tables. Does anybody notice anything glaringly different about the 5 tables that they picked for Flipper Friends, either for the 4K or the HD? I find this very interesting. So I won't wait for you guys to actually say it, but if you notice, look, there's no Gottlieb games. No Gottlieb games. And what did we ask before? We asked for no calendar. We no longer have a calendar. We asked, and I made an entire plea video about this. Please stop with the crap games. Isn't it interesting that here we are, they started up Flipper Friends again, and I think they finally accepted, hey, you know what? He's right. We can't fix the Gottlieb games. We haven't been able to fix them. So they removed them from Flipper Friends. Are you shitting me? That's big news, folks. I'm so proud of At Games for recognizing that. And I don't think it's been talked about because it's like they're taking something away, but they've actually given us something better. We have more tables that we can appreciate. And that we can play without having all the scoring issues and all the bugs and everything associated with that. So it's absolutely huge. I was super excited about that. If you jump over to the HD side, same thing. There's no Gottlieb games, and we have an extra. In this case, we had Speed King Egypt, also good games like we had on the 4K. Sea of Thieves is an alternative, which is great. We had Future World, which is another great game, and Moonflight Deluxe, which is another great game. So again, we're getting 5 good games. It's just amazing. So it's really good to see. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Human. There's no sound for Gottlieb games currently right now, so they still haven't fixed that as part of the firmware fix. We haven't gotten the component update, which presumably will fix that, as well as a couple other things, solenoids being the big one. So for new owners, solenoids not being able to toggle on and off is kind of a big deal. So definitely something to think about. This is the first week without Gottlieb. Wait until next week. I hope that's not the case, Mad Ben. I hope that they recognize that and said, you know what, that's the way it's going to be for a while. But yeah, it's big news. And I think, if anything, it speaks to the fact that maybe, just maybe, At Games is actually listening to its community. Maybe they're listening to the show. Maybe. Could be. That would make my head explode if they actually cared about my show, or if they just popped into my chat one day and said, yeah, hey, we're At Games, we're actually here. That'll never be the case. But at any rate, I would love to like to think that they are actually watching this community, watching its people, watching its contributors. I know Papa Brad has probably said it at some point or another. Chaotic and us, we've all talked about it at one point or another. Biggie D, I was on his show last week. We talked about it a little bit. All this pinball news is stuff all over the place. So it's big stuff no matter where you go. And it just continues to be a thing. So anyway, yeah, Flipper Friends is back. The firmware, as we know, the component update is still not up to date. But we got to figure, they're still working on it. They know it's a big thing. So, and as I say Papa Brad's name, he's like, boom, he's in the chat. Amazing. So, Chelada Love is a spy for Flipper Friends. Yeah, I think he is too. Chelada Love has had some really good insights on At Game stuff, as well as Blaze in my Discord. He has noticed a lot of different things and has brought some really good stuff to the chat that he has some insight on. He's really good about poking around in internet websites and stuff like that, and is able to find some information. So, really cool to see. Too many hoops to get through for the Gottlieb scores to post. It is a good move by At Games, but says Pinball Wizard. Yeah, I agree. And also, news. This is big news. My chair. There was talk about my chair squeaking too much. See that? Okay, so I am buying a new chair. It's gonna come this week, so this chair will be replaced. I apologize one more time. This chair will be here, and then this chair is out of here. So I apologize for that. I tried to swap to this chair, and it's too low, so I had to move the camera even lower than, or I had to post it even lower than I liked, and it was too much. So we had to go back to the squeaky chair for this last episode. Also, I made another big change. I put the camera over here because so many people want to see the stuff that I have as opposed to a chair and a micro pinball. So I've decided to change the camera view a little bit so you can see a little more of my content. You can see the X Arcade, you can see the 4KP, you can see the A loom in the background. So at least you guys can see some of this stuff. Get that man some WD-40. I have it, but this carpet, we're renting a house here and it has white carpet. You'll notice the carpet's pretty white here. I would never want to put WD-40 on this particular chair right now. It'd be all over the floor. It'd be a big mess. So, no, I have not. We've had this chair for a couple years. It's going. Don't worry. I'm just gonna get rid of it. You guys are all cracking up about it. Flipper Friends needs less tables and some other system other than cumulative scores, especially when it drives ratings. You're absolutely right. It's a bad system. Stop nudging me. Welcome to the chat. It is a very good thing to think about. I do think they do need to do something more about that. I will say, if you have been playing Gottlieb games at all on your system, I played as part of our daily grind tournament on my Discord. We played Black Hole this last week, and I will say, every time I got out of that table, the scores uploaded, and it said that they were uploaded. And I don't think I'd ever seen that before. So it is really interesting that the Gottliebs are starting to upload scores, and I'm wondering if they're getting that fixed. It doesn't mean that the scoring is fixed for the particular table, but if those tables actually upload scores, that could be a huge plus. So, not so sure. My camera's glitching out again. Is that true? I've got this thing plugged in directly to my PC. Should not be an issue. So I didn't see any flicker, but definitely let me know. So yeah, that's been a thing this week. So, next up, let's talk a little bit about this was Williams Pack 6. So this is Dr. Dude. We talked about Dr. Dude. We talked about these real briefly last week. I want to know a little bit about what your takes was. We did a review on this, or I did a review on this for Dr. Dude, Funhouse, and Space Station. So all of these games came into the 4KP this week. There's been a lot of different takes on what people thought they liked about these games, what they didn't like about these games. I'm interested just to hear what you guys thought of them. Now that you've actually played them, it seems to me that Dr. Dude plays incredibly fast. This is one that I think it's faster than any other 4KP Zen table that I've played, as far as the recreations go. So there, my camera just flaked out again. That is really interesting. So I did hear it that time. Huh. Okay. Well, I'll keep an eye on that. And if I have to switch out, I'll have to switch out. But, so, Dr. Dude, Funhouse, and Space Station. I gave the best rating to Funhouse, but only by a little bit. I like Space Station a lot, and Dr. Dude is the lesser of the three, quite frankly. So, anyway, that was something to think about. And I really like the games. I think they're a good threesome of games that came out, and they're really doing a nice job. So anyway, if you have not seen a review on them, I encourage you to check out my video, and then of course I have the extended video talking about the impressions and the gameplay. That's an hour and 40 minutes long if you didn't get enough viewing ability during the review. So there's definitely that to check out as well. Dr. Dude is great, says Mad Ben Han. Yeah, and I think I like it too. It took me a little getting used to. It feels a lot like a party zone. I will say that. It is a lot like a party zone. Dude like Dr. Dud. Ooh, am I right? Solid pack, well worth the $15. What a fantastic pack. Yeah, and I think that's the consensus. I didn't really expect too much out of this one, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of Funhouse. I really was excited for Space Station, actually. That's one that I've really enjoyed in the past. The thing I like about Space Station is it plays very different than any other table. So that was the biggest thing about that one. We'll go back to this picture just real briefly. So Space Station, you'll notice there's the slingshots are integrated into the bottom of the table, and it just makes a very different play. The bounces and everything are just very different on that table. It's tougher to cradle the ball. Just a lot going on there, so it's really cool. Is your stalling and holding the ball just to get around the nudge warning or to concentrate on Dr. Dude? Human says. Stop nudging me says, I know I'm in the majority, or the minority, but I'm just the least favorite is Funhouse. Interesting. It doesn't connect with me, and then many years ago I played Space Station on the app, didn't like it. Much better with the 4KP playfield. Interesting. I love Space Station, and I think the color shift to the green that you see here in this image really sells the table. When you're on a multi-ball and it switches to that green, it's just a really cool effect. We don't see a lot of that on the 4KP with a major color shift like that, so that was really a nice design choice, and it's part of the game, so it was very cool that they had it. Funhouse #1, says Human. So people are going to fight about that. I know Funhouse is a very popular game. Everybody likes it. It's definitely something to consider about that. And it's, it's one of those things where it's very polarized. Dr. Dude is another one. Like, people don't either like it or hate it. Funhouse, you either like it or hate it. And then Space Station, people like it or hate it. So this is a very polarizing pack in general. Pretty interesting to see. So I like that there's opinions on both sides. So Funhouse is the worst one in the pack for me, says Mad Ben Han, and he's a very loud voice when it comes to that. So agreed. Human, it's mainly to reset the tilt sensor. Interesting. Yeah. So one thing we didn't talk about, we did notice with Funhouse that there is it's sort of a bug, kind of. You can get the ball stuck in Rudy's mouth. Actually, it'll get stuck in there, and it'll actually affect gameplay. So you have to do an up nudge to loosen that ball, and it'll pop out and then fall onto the playfield. It can be advantageous if you're on a multi-ball necessarily. If you've had a couple of the balls drop out and you take another shot and it actually gets stuck, you can actually hang that ball there a little bit and then pop it out later on and get it that way. So there is some advantageous stuff to it as well, but it was pretty interesting to see, to be quite honest. So loving Dr. Dude after playing it a lot. PG, welcome to the stream, buddy. And that's interesting take. I think a lot of people who played it have really come to like it. It's a fairly simplistic game. There's not a lot to it. You take the 3 shots for Gift of Gab, Magnetic Personality, and Heart of Rock and Roll, and then you go for that Mix Master, and then for the Excellent Ray. And there's not a whole lot to it, but it's a lot of fun. But it plays very, very fast, and it can hurt you very quickly. So that's right here. You can see here. Here's the magnet. You have Magnetic Personality. Heart of Rock and Roll is over here. You have Gift of Gab on this side. And then you take that shot to the Mixmaster straight up here, the Molecular Million, and then, of course, to the Excellent Array. So, yeah, it was really interesting to see. None of these tables make the top 5 Williams remakes, but it's a solid pack. And that's, yeah, Dennis B., I agree with you. It's kind of the take I had for a lot of this stuff. Space Station 1, Funhouse 2, and Dr. Dude 3. But to me, they're all quite good and fun. And remember, they're $5 each. I mean, the value proposition for these tables is amazing when you consider what we're getting for it. So Stop Nudging Me says, also, Ben, I saw that you're going to be make me play Space Station again. Glad to have you in the community, but I am sick right now. That sucks, dude. Sorry to hear that. Stop Nudging Me. Obviously, we want you to get better, get you back on the back glass. So that sucks to hear, man. PG, nice score on Dr. Dude. You were getting close. I upped the score a little bit. I figured, awesome, man. I love the banter in the chat. It's always nice to have people fighting back and forth on the back glass and continuing to push themselves and push this community forward. Awesome to see that stuff. So next up, let's talk a little bit about one of the announcements that happened this week. So this was kind of a biggie, right? I think we all had a little bit of something to be excited about this week. We all know what it is. It's Elvira Scared Stiff. Zen Studios Pinball Bites came out this week. We talked about Elvira. Obviously, this is a huge property. We have to believe that this is going to be a $15 pack, but it's going to be worth it, every bit of it, every dollar. There is some concern about the back glass, whether or not it will have a spinning spider or not. From what I heard, Papa Brad actually says that he spoke to Zen, and they said that they are not doing it, or spoke to At Games rather, and that it will not have the spinning spider. I tend to agree with that. We'll see what happens there. PG, don't spoil it. And then, so Scared Stiff is a huge commodity. Obviously, we're going to want Party Monsters at some point too. I think that will happen. I think maybe that might happen later in October. Maybe I'm hoping that because they have one, they'll get both of them. I think that'll happen. I'm hoping that we get this one. This one's announced for October 16th. And then I'm kind of hoping that they'll drop the bomb that we're getting Party Monsters as well, and maybe get that a little bit before Halloween. How amazing would that be? Maybe they hang on to that and do it at a later date, but who knows, man. So here's the table. What a beautiful table it is. Obviously, you see Elvira is all legs in the playfield. That I think is really, really cool. That snake's bone structure throughout the table, awesome. Has some really good innuendos. The callouts are really, really awesome on this table. I played this in person yesterday, and I absolutely love this table. Let me jump over to that screenshot right now, and we'll look at that real quick. So this is the actual table. We've seen it in person. And you can see here, this is the actual table, and what a beautiful table it is. The detail is absolutely amazing. Obviously, this is under glass, so it's a little foggy, so I apologize for that. But this is the actual table in real life. And you can see what a beautiful table this is, what beautiful back glass that is. Obviously, the concern is the back glass for the At Games community, so we'll see what's going on there. You guys, I'm not gonna acknowledge anything in the chat. You guys are you can't get away with anything right now. So anyway, Scared Stiff is coming. We're all excited about it. This was the big announcement for the week, we have to say. Absolutely. So one last screenshot we do have to talk about briefly is this one of Elvira. So this one here is a censored version of Elvira. This is the 3D model that we see is utilized on the playfield for this particular version. Now we don't know if this is going to have an option or not to have this be part of whether this is a Pinball M drop or if this is a Pinball FX drop. We believe it's Pinball FX, but we'll see. If you look at this same release, Scared Stiff on Steam, she is not covered on her chest. So this is like a lacy cami undershirt, whatever you want to call it. We'll see if this actually makes the playfield. You have to assume this is going to be on the At Game system. They've censored things in the past. They censored Taxi by removing Lola and Gorbachev from the back glass, which is a weird design decision. It is what it is. Elvira's legs. See, Despy, I can't look at the chat right now. You guys are killing me. I love it. Honestly, I don't get why At Games can't support animations on the back glass. It's like RAM and CPU. Way too fast for you. You are not wrong, man. And so that is absolutely the case. We'll see what happens. I'm really hoping... I really hope that because this one is $15 that they figured it out and that it'll actually have it and that Papa Brad is wrong, or maybe they're trying to keep it a secret. I don't know. I really doubt it. I'm sure Papa Brad's got some ins with At Games, so I don't see why he would mention it if he didn't know for sure. So it is going to be what it's going to be. So at any rate, that is Scared Stiff. So that was big news. Let's jump over to the website for this. Alright, so Scared Stiff, here it is. We'll pop over just briefly. This is the playfield for it, and we'll mute the table a little bit. But this is Scared Stiff. That's the playfield. Obviously, absolutely beautiful looking table. Glad to see you play the real pinballs. Yes, I do, and I played a lot of them yesterday. The leapers all look good. You can see the special effects glaring in there. You got these little finger things that kind of wiggle and wobble at the slingshots. Those are all real part pieces. When you hit the posts next to, you see there the leapers, the frogs at the posts, those all pop up. This is what it will look like in VR with the rotating back glass. So it's going to look beautiful in VR. That's going to be something that we need to talk about as well. I love kind of the nonchalant, I don't care kind of clapping thing that she did there. It's pretty awesome. So it is what it is. But I'm excited about it. It's a big announcement. It's a big announcement. It's something that needed to happen, and I think it's just going to have to happen. So, another big announcement this week. Let's get to the next one. This is a huge announcement this week as well. Let's pause this for just a second. And what do you guys think it is? X-Arcade! That's right, you're right, X-Arcade. So the X-Arcade, there's a haptic kit unboxing here on the Blockade Pinball Podcast. So this is Shut Your Trap actually got an early version of the X-Arcade haptics kit. He shows it here. Obviously this one has a black back, or the black of the fiberglass on the backside is black. The original one that's actually going to come out is going to be white. But they did an unboxing of it. He didn't seem to know about all these things on the side. I was kind of surprised by that. He didn't seem to know about that, what they were doing. But he did show some really cool stuff on the back here that I wanted to point out, that I thought this was a big question that I had, and he has answered it in his unboxing. Right here you'll notice that on the back of the X-Arcade's haptics kit here, you'll see there's a button for a toggle for the solenoids. That button, SOL. It's not same old Lions. It's for the solenoids, and you can turn them on or off with the touch of a button. That is, to me, is big news. My Little Pony 2, nope, you're not right, Dennis B, not yet. Is she getting royalties from these things? I would imagine, PG, she has to be getting royalties for the Elvira stuff. That is obviously part of the licensing fees. Obviously, that's going to be a big one. What I don't know is what ACC stands for. If anybody knows what that is on the X Arcade for the chat, let me know. I'm wondering if that's just accessories or I don't really know. Maybe that's accelerometer. That's what it is. So this is for the accelerometer. Turn it on or off. Interesting. I did not connect that until now. And then we have two knobs, one for vibration and one for audio. So these ones can be a little bit fine-tuned, which is pretty interesting. The aux-in cable is the one hard connection that you're going to have between the MetaQuest headset and the aptics kit for X Arcade. So that is the one hard connection we have to have. And then because this draws so much power, it has to have an additional power cable. And you see that talked about in the box. So yeah, Leon, you just mentioned accelerator. I wish I had thought of that off the top of my head, but I did not. So, something to think about. Sucks that Scared Stiff is not having the back glass animations. Yeah, we'll see. We have to believe that it will not. So, Ben, are you full plunging on Dr. Dude every time, or do you think the drain risk is too high? I'm torn. Stop nudging me. That's a good question. I'll let MedBen answer that, but I'll answer it too. I do the full plunge, and then I left nudge almost immediately to make sure that ball comes down to my right flipper. It's still risky, probably, and you could do like a half plunge and just have it come directly to the right flipper. It's probably safer. And really, for only 100,000 points, even if you do get the skill shot, it's probably not worth it even to do the skill shot. So, I don't know. You're probably right. So, anyway, that was big news, I thought, from the X Arcade. Next up, let's talk about one other thing that's big news. More big news! This might be the biggest news ever. That's right, my boy Billy Woods Mods this week on his channel when he did his comparison video for Dr. Dude, Space Station, and Funhouse. At the very end of this video, look at the shirt he's wearing. He's wearing an RTX pinball shirt. I thought this was a really cool shout out. If you watch till the end of his video, he comes out and says, "Hey, look, you got this really cool shirt." I thought that was a really cool homage, and I really appreciate Billy for this. I was cracking up. I had to go, oh my god, this is an amazing thing. So definitely I wanted to point him out. I haven't seen him in the chat yet. Maybe he'll show up. We'll see. But I thought this was a really good thing that he did for me. So I really appreciate that. He had bought one of my shirts. Howdy, folks. Hope you're doing well. Absolutely. That's his theme. Everybody knows him by that, and it's a really cool thing. So more big news. We got more big news, people. One more big thing. Well, maybe a couple. All right. So this one here. That's right, my IFP debut. I did a whole video on this earlier today where I was basically falling asleep the entire time. I did an entire video. This is about a half hour long. I did a bunch of shorts. If you watch my channel, you've probably seen a lot of them yesterday. I went to an event here in West Michigan where I did my first ever IFPA event with real pinballs. And I did a whole video on how does my digital skills translate to real pinball. Having not ever done an IFPA event, having not really played a ton of real pinball, really, I don't own a real pinball machine. That's something that is on my bucket list that I have not been able to purchase yet. If I had to purchase one, it's going to be either Independence Day, Mandalorian, or Black Knight Sword of Rage. Those are my top three that I want. I would love Meteor. I love Meteor. That's one of my favorite games. And Blackout I really like too. I really came to really love this Stargazer. The sound of the spinners on that thing are absolutely fantastic. So anyway, my debut, I'm not going to go into full detail on this, but I will say I was one of 35 of some of the best players here in Michigan. And believe it or not, I finished 7th place, believe it or not. And I even won this. I won a bottle opener for my troubles, and it was pretty awesome. So, super excited about that. That was a big deal to me. Probably it's a core memory for sure. I mentioned that it was just such a big thing in my life. I've never done anything quite like that. It was a big deal. So, yeah, At Games Micro HD for 320ish right now. That's pretty awesome, dude. They really come down. And PG, MedBen, they're all talking about Dr. Dude's plunging. So that's a really important thing on that game too. It can snake bite you really fast. So, yes, I'm gonna slow down just a bit. I'm gonna get a drink. First place with us, bro. Another shameless plug for my merch. If anybody wants some really cool stuff, I even added shot glasses today by request. I did not realize that shot glasses were like $10 for a shot glass, but I guess that's what they cost nowadays. So who knows? You always remember your first. You're right, Dennis B. It's funny you said that because I said the same thing basically on accident when I left there. I'm like, you never forget your first. And I'm like, oh dear God, I said it. And I got it, man. So you're absolutely right. That was a big deal. So next up, we did have a fairly minor thing happen this week that was kind of an okay thing. It was kind of a big deal. Actually, it's the biggest thing that happened this week. And of course, you know what it is. It's Baby Shark, everybody. Baby Shark coming to the At Games 4KP and the HD systems. Who is not excited for Baby Shark? I mean, this is fantastic news. We all wanted Baby Shark. We've been wanting Baby Shark since day one. I don't know what we could have done without Baby Shark until now, but here we have it. We're excited. Yes, PG, we're all excited. Baby Shark, everybody. Now, I was dropping my stepson off to his dad's house on Friday night. We seen this announcement. It was like 3 minutes prior to that. My first take was, oh my God, this is amazing. Not everybody had that impression. Most people had said, oh my God, I cannot believe this has to be a joke. It is not. I'm completely serious. This is an absolutely awesome announcement. I have said it many times. I said it with My Little Pony when I did my review of that. I did it when I talk about Trolls in my review for that. The At Games system does not have enough games for girls and kids. And I think this is a really good way to diversify that a little bit, add some more stuff to the platform. Super excited for Baby Shark. Now, granted, it's not going to be one that we're going to want to play all the time, but man, this is a really cool announcement. This is the table layout for this game. It actually looks pretty darn cool. It is a Magic Pixel table made as an At Games original. It has 6 modes here. It has Kiko the Turtle, Mira the Octopus, Zuno the Dolphin, Clint the Crab, Poof the Pufferfish, and Bible the Starfish. I don't know any of these characters. And then it has, looks like 4 additional modes or something like that on the bottom. Mommy Shark, Daddy Shark, Grandpa Shark, and Grandma Shark. So that's pretty cool. But at the very bottom here, you'll notice there's Shark Mode and Baby Shark Mode. So this is very interesting. And what's really cool about this, so here's a picture of Grandpa Shark, Grandma and Grandma Shark on the ramps here. There's kind of a blow up here. Sorry, I blew that up a little bit for you. These are the different characters. Obviously, what a beautiful table. It's very lively, very colorful. I think this is going to be really cool for younger fans of pinball. And then, of course, let's jump into the video for this just briefly. I will not play the song. I will do you guys a solid and not play the song for this, but there is Baby Shark. It does look pretty darn good, I gotta say. The animations are pretty cool. The sharks are just kind of flipping around. There's the pufferfish. It has kind of a little orbit up the top there. There's a mini orbit in the middle where there's Grandpa Shark. Has kind of a mini orbit of sorts. So it's pretty interesting how they went about this. Next up, let's talk a little bit about the rule set. Now, the rule set on this is pretty cool. What's interesting about this is that it's not just an adult-centered theme. There is actually 2 major modes that can happen here. You have Shark Mode and you have Baby Shark Mode. And what's interesting is that Baby Shark Mode, it makes it easier for kids to play. So you'll notice in Baby Shark Mode, the center pop-up post stays raised for 60 seconds as opposed to 20 seconds in Shark Mode. And once it's activated, it provides extended protection for younger players, so they'll have a lot more opportunity to keep the ball in play. And then you'll notice on the outlane gates, in Baby Shark mode, the outlane gates stay open for the entire game, preventing any outlane drains and creating a more accessible, kid-friendly experience. So I think this is a really cool thing to do for this system. I am concerned, however, and I don't know if anybody had thought about this, what are they going to do with the scoring for this, for the 4KP HD systems? If people can exploit the Baby Shark mode and just go crazy with the scoring, is that going to affect the scoring on the main table or not? That's going to be something that's going to be a concern for me, whether or not that's a thing or not. I do have concerns about that. So, wait, aren't we all kids at heart? Yes, we are, the Beamy. We really are. I wish the ball would really play like that. It's a shark game. Flipper wouldn't last very long. And we use flippers, so that's interesting. If Baby Shark and My Little Pony collab, RTX's head would explode. You're absolutely right, Human. That's a really good take. More flippers. Kids love the flippers. That's right. Trolls became a low-key banger, says Pete G. Yes, you're right. Trolls is a really good game. I think My Little Pony is a great game. Ignore the IPs. The IPs are not important if you have a good game, and I think we can all get with that. So... you're all hating on it now. I'm gonna be laughing my ass off when it comes to my favorite table. You're absolutely right, man. Way too fast for you says literally they need more kid modes for all the games. Yes, I think you're right. It's really hard, especially for little kids to come up to these tables and be able to play these things, and especially for the micro. I got my micro here. I would love this game to be. I'd love more games to have a kid friendly mode. Or something that we could toggle that would make it easier. Maybe lower the scoring if need be, but make the outlanes inaccessible. Make it so you have unlimited ball saves for unlimited play for a kid. They would love to just sit there and play pinball, and they would get good at it, and then they wouldn't need that stuff. It's kind of like bowling when you have the bumper rails. It would give some more provision for them to be able to play a game. So I think this is a really cool thing. I'd like to see more of it, to be honest. Probably can't post scores if on baby mode. You might be right, way too fast for you, and I hope that's the case because they probably don't need them, or maybe they'll just post to local. I don't know. It's like the gutter rails for bowling. Yeah, exactly, Dennis B. We just said that. Yep. Y'all getting outscored by a bunch of kids, says Leon. That's good. My son is asking, what is your favorite table? Human, what is my favorite table on the 4KP? Oh man, that's a tough one. I'll have to think about that for a minute. I have a lot of good favorites. I do have a lot of favorites. So that's a good question. What is my favorite table? Man, oh man. Probably Attack from Mars. And I know that's maybe a cop-out, but that is one that I typically go back to a lot. I play Attack from Mars a lot. That's one that I really... It's a simple game to get into and play. Nothing too crazy. So... hopefully this will bring in a new generation of pinball players, and that is exactly my point, Matt Ben. Exactly. Great take. We do want to bring in more people into this hobby. And if more games like Baby Shark and maybe Rugrats is an older IP that might not bring in as much. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of a timeless IP. We've seen that one come back through multiple generations. Whether or not it's the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie that we all grew up with, or the Ninja Turtles cartoon show, or if you've seen the reboot on Nickelodeon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles keeps coming back in many different ways. Whether it was the NES games, the Super NES games, we had it on the arcade. We had the new games that came out. We have the new roguelikes that come out on Switch and everything more recently on most recent consoles. So definitely stuff like that. Monster Bash is one of the best. Sea of Thieves, those are all really good games. Tough one to pick. And exactly, endless play. That would be great. And that's what it's all about. I've gotten close to the top. He's lying. RTX's favorite table is Kung Fu Panda. Dennis B, I thank you for teaching me not to read the chat continuously. So, yes, Kung Fu Panda is my absolute favorite table, along with Homeworld and Borderlands. Those are my absolute favorites. They are really fantastic games, and I think everybody should own them and play them continuously. So, yes, absolutely that is the case. All right, this is a shameless plug, if you will, for my reviews that I've done this week. I did a Titan-sized review on King Kong, or on Kong Pinball, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla. This was a really good review that I did this week. I also did a review for DreamWorks Pinball, which includes my favorite table, Kung Fu Panda, Trolls, and How to Train Your Dragon. That was done this week. I also did Garfield Pinball 4KP review, so if you have not seen those reviews, definitely check those out. Those were a labor of love, as I love those games, and they all require a little bit of extra insight. Those are some games that I hadn't reviewed as of yet and needed to. It had been a hot minute. So, yeah, some new IPs. Way Too Fast for You. Thank you for pointing that out. Bluey would be a great IP. That would be fantastic. Sesame Street would sell a lot. You're absolutely right. There's some good IPs there that they could tap into and really get rolling. I don't think they're going to go too crazy with that. I think there's going to be maybe one or two that could be like that. But I don't think that they want to go too far down that rabbit hole, because I do think it will affect sales to some degree. Yes, I think we'll all buy Baby Shark. By the way, it comes out October 2nd, so not this week, but next week. So that will be coming out next Thursday. I will do an all-day stream for Baby Shark, and I will play it at full tilt constantly for that entire day. So that is not true. It will be interesting to see. I mean, you're going to have that song for sure. It's going to be part of the song. It's going to be part of the IP. Will people want to mute it or change it in some way? Probably. But you got to watch that. I could have gotten into the info for Kong as well as today's Daily Grind table. Yes. So that was interesting. I thought initially that when you guys picked Kong for the Daily Grind table, that it was because of my review, but actually you guys just really appreciate that game. I really like Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong is okay, and then Godzilla's okay. I think it could have been a lot better, but I really like the Kong pinball table. The sound effects kit is absolutely bopping on that if you haven't played it. Really, really cool. So, one last thing we'll jump into is the content creator calendar for this week. This is always something I like to do. I forgot to do it last week, and I did my truncated version last week because I was in Biggie D's show. How about some nostalgic IPs? Let's get a Ren and Stimpy table. Oh, Dennis B, I would be in heaven to get a Ren and Stimpy. Get me Beavis and Butthead. Can you imagine a Beavis and Butthead Pinball M table? Can you imagine that table? Or a South Park M table where they're full on cussing and, it'd just be amazing. My guess is that a third of the At Games pinball owners have young kiddos, but could have been wrong. I would buy those games for them. That's awesome. PG says the Godzilla table for the most play gets the most play from me. Okay, interesting. That's a good take. I do like the Godzilla table. I wish it was. I wish it was easier to get into multi-ball. I wish the modes were a little more accessible. I feel like he could have done a lot more with that table. As I mentioned in the review, I was kind of surprised that they gave a kind of a relatively unknown designer design choices on that game, as opposed to giving it to Thomas Crofts, who did Godzilla vs. Kong, or even Dolby, who did Kong himself, who were the more established designers for those tables. So it was interesting to see Varagos got the design for that. So it was interesting for sure. Mewtwo, G.I. Joe, or Thundercats would be another one. Yeah, those are all good options. Leon, I'm not reading yours, so I'm trying to save people the torment of hearing the Baby Shark song in any capacity, to try to not have you guys deal with the earworms that come with that. So I'd be 100% in for a Beavis and Butthead table. Wouldn't that be cool? I just pulled it out of my ass a few minutes ago. I apologize for the word. I don't generally like to cuss on this channel, but that was one that just cracked me up. So, all right. So this week's content creator calendar. So it's going to be kind of a vanilla week this week. We don't have any releases scheduled. I wouldn't be shocked if we got kind of a shock release from Zen. Announced on Tuesday, dropped on Wednesday. We'll see. I would love to see something drop. I don't know that it's going to happen. If for some reason it does, I left Yo Retro on here just in case. They're more tentative if they have a release. But we'll see. We might actually we could even get Tropical this week. That might be something that we get from Magic Pixel. That's been announced previously, and it's been a thing for a while. So I don't know the song. I don't want to. Not until release day. Okay, Pinball Wizard. Stop Nudging Me says, I struggle with liking that Godzilla pack. I feel like when the standout feature, at least for me, is the sound and the surround sound, you know the gameplay lacks a bit. Okay, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. The sound effects kit it doesn't take away from the games, it actually amplifies the games, I think, in a lot of ways. So, I could see where you would say that. I do think the Kong table is pretty well established, and it has some gimmicks with the gravity inversion and stuff like that. But I think they're good enough games, especially for $15. They're still quality games. They do have wizard modes, stuff like that. Your calendar is a week off. I am a week off! Darn it! I thought I had adjusted that. You are totally right, man. I've got it off again, don't I? Shoot! I did it again. I apologize for that. So I need to fix that. Sorry about that, guys. Let me jump over. So you're right. I thought when I looked at this that it made more sense than that, and for whatever reason, it didn't. So yes, Thursday is going to be the Baby Shark game. So that's what I thought. When I started to look at this earlier in this week, I started to think, yeah, my wife is going away on a trip on Thursday. She's doing a retreat. So you got him all messed up. See, this is what I'm talking about. I can't do other people's shows. I just get all messed up here. So you're absolutely right. So yes, this week there is an episode of the Wizard Room. I'll show this anyway. It doesn't matter. Let's just jump in here. So we will take all of this stuff here. This is all going to be slid down to here. Some of this is October now, so that's going to be a thing. Sorry, guys. So this is going to be October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You're going to have... This part can go away. I almost did the damn Baby Shark song in my head again. Now that it's stuck in my head, you guys have got me all kerfluffled. Anyway, amazing thing. So yes, Baby Shark is going to be coming out Thursday. This coming Thursday, I will be doing the Baby Shark stream. So there will be an episode of Yo Retro this Thursday. I don't know why I was thinking, I'm getting confused in the head about that stuff, but you're right. It is Sunday the 28th. I didn't put the date in my thumbnail this week, and I probably should have. So I'm all messed up. This IFPA rating game yesterday, I played all day long. Totally earworms. I know, man. PG, you're totally right. And I hate earworms. I get a song stuck in my head, and it will be in there forever. So I try to stay away from that stuff. Cannot wait to not buy Baby Shark. Dennis, you're talking crap. You're going to buy Baby Shark, and you're going to adore it. I've heard everybody from... Ray Delatorre's told me the same thing on my YouTube channel earlier today. He's like, I cannot believe this. This has to be a joke. I'm not buying it. And then later on he came with a message and said, yeah, I'll probably buy it anyway. So I think we're all talking about... Speaking of Back to the Future, I need to get back on that. Yep. Baby Shark Thursdays. Yes, we're going to have a Baby Shark Thursday. I will probably do... Because that is a Thursday release, I'll probably do my video probably about 6 o'clock leading up to Yo Retro for that evening at 8 o'clock, where I cannot wait to see Chaotic BPR and Half a Dozen Six doing a review on Baby Shark. I think that's going to be amazing. I do expect that Chalada Love will probably play it on Thursday as well during his VPX stream for Lunchtime Pinball. So that'll be interesting to see. RTX, please post updated calendar on Discord if you do correct it. Yeah, I'll fix that for you, and I'll get it up there as well. My wife and I are excited to play Baby Shark. See her face lit up. Oh, Dennis M., that is amazing, man. That's good to see. I can't resist new tables. Anyway, says PG, it's dope, LOL. Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I mean, yes, it's a crazy IP. It's silly. Obviously, we didn't expect it. Blaze actually made a post in my Discord. He used the a Baby Shark meme talking about a new release, and for whatever reason, I did not connect it. I just did not connect it at all. And he says, "Now wait a minute, I freaking announced this a couple weeks ago," and I look back and I'll be like, "I'll be damned, you did. I'll be damned, you actually did. You've seen it. Half a dozen will need to be pretty baked." You know, it's gonna be a little interesting. He might drop in bars over it. Stop nudging me. You guys it's crazy. I might stream Baby Shark at release time since I've heard the song everybody in the world knows. It's going to be interesting, guys. Baby Shark, I am concerned about the scoring, whether or not the scoring will update to the 4KP and the HD scoreboards, or if it'll just be something that those Baby Shark games are throwaways and that you can't post scores. We'll see. We'll see. My granddaughter made me play that Baby Shark video 10 times. She's so excited. My wife, not so much. Yes, Leon, that's going to be a thing. The kids are going to love it. The parents are not going to love it. And that's fine. If we can get more kids to play pinball and get involved, once your kids start playing pinball, your daughter, I assume this is your daughter, right? Yeah. Granddaughter. So Leon, your grandpa like I am. Your granddaughter's going to walk up to this table. She's going to start playing Baby Shark, and then you're going to introduce her to My Little Pony. And no, actually, I don't think you don't have a 4K, but you can get, if you had a 4K, you could get her incorporated into Trolls, and then it'll be My Little Pony, and then it'll be Kung Fu Panda. There's some IPs there that girls would really appreciate, and I would like to see more of that, quite frankly. So, 3.6 billion score coming on Baby Shark. And you're so right. And maybe Baby Shark mode gives a fraction of the scoring it wouldn't work to get a high score. Stop nudging me. And I hope that's the case. I hope they did something to incorporate that. That they can play. And they're going to get scoring, but they're not going to be able to... you could compete with your dad, for example. You could do your dad and your kid could play Baby Shark mode against each other. And you can compare scores that way, playing a two-player game. But those scores just don't post. I hope they integrated something into the effect for that. It does make me think, I wish that they did something like that with Elvira as well. I wish that they had, because that table, we have the ability on the 4KP now to do parental controls. I'm really surprised that they're still trying to do this censoring stuff. I'm a little perplexed as to why they do that. When we have something like Chucky and we have the Thing, why they're covering up boobs. I don't think that seems to be... for whatever reason in this country, we seem to be more okay with violence than we are with sexuality, and I think that's really unfortunate. So, it is what it is. That's just my take on it. Maybe that's controversial, and I apologize for that. But it is funny that is a thing in this country, in America, that we tend to be okay with violence and the goriness and things like that, but not so much with the natural sexuality and things like that. Now, Elvira. Yes, she is being sexual in nature. She's showing more cleavage than you would generally see, and she's all legs. We've seen that on the playfield. Is that worse than seeing a knife go into Chucky's head during the wizard mode? I mean, I think that's far worse, quite frankly. But that's my take on it. It is interesting to see. Dennis B says, if they made some anime tables, maybe my son would play. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Or, Fortnite. Maybe have a Fortnite table or Minecraft. Can you imagine a Minecraft table? That'd be huge. Be absolutely huge. Minecraft, boy, that's a good one. That's a Microsoft IP too. So they're associated with Rare, the Rare pack. That would be one I would be interested in seeing. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good one to think about too, actually. I hadn't thought of that, but that's another one that I would like to think about. One last thing I do want to talk about, just briefly. I did buy something this week that I thought I would show off. And this is on Etsy. Now, if you have a Legion Go, and I don't know that everybody does, but if you have a Legion Go, this is something you might want to consider purchasing if you are a pinball fan. This is a vertical grip for a Legion Go Windows handheld. Now, this is for the first generation Lenovo Legion Go. And this is for playing vertical games. I play a lot of vertical shooters. I play a lot of pinball games. And so this is an option for you guys out there. They had another version of this back in the day that was a little bit different. This is the more up-to-date version, and I think this one actually works quite a bit better. I did get this in black, believe it or not, and I can show it to you now. So it's $36. I think it ended up costing me $40-some by the time it came out. But there it is. There is the Legion Go vertical flip grip. This allows for really awesome play for vertical games. I think it's a really cool accessory. It's pretty simple, quite honestly, but man, to be able to play games in this format on this system, this is really why I chose the Legion Go over a ROG Ally X. I had a ROG Ally X at one point, and I basically never played the darn thing. I got sick of dealing with the horizontal gameplay. It was only a 7-inch screen, not an 8.8 like this is. So I chose to go back to the Legion Go. I sold that system outright, and that's been it. So, cue ball, not very fun. I'm not sure what you're referring to in that, so I apologize for that, Leon. Not sure what cue ball is. Not very fun. Anyway, so that was the week that was as far as digital pinball this week. My goodness, that is a pretty busy week. We've covered an entire hour worth of content and news and notes. We generally don't get to an hour's worth of stuff on this channel. I like to kind of blow through stuff pretty quickly and then let you get back to your day. But that was the week that was. I think it's going to be a fun week. Obviously, we've got Baby Shark coming up. We've got anticipation of Elvira in a couple weeks. Oh, Minecraft. Yes. Yeah, Minecraft would be fantastic, man. Now I want that. Now I want a Minecraft table on the 4KP. I think that would be a really good take. So, anyway, thank you guys for coming out this week. I know this is a big week for new content and new stuff coming. I still think we're going to get a component update. I think they're going to be a little slow to get that stuff out now that they've got Flipper Friends going again. I hope that it happens this week. I'm already 2 weeks late on my prediction on whether or not they were going to do the firmware update. I apologize to all you new owners, anybody who came to the stream this week and wanted to see more information about firmware. I'm sorry to disappoint. I don't have any inside news on that. I will say that they are continuing to hurt themselves with new customers by not having the solenoid option available to turn on or off. Affordable financing is still an issue for people who are buying from even if you bought it from the at-game store, there's issues with registering your device to be able to play it. You're still seeing people from the Facebook groups complaining that they bought a system, they can't play it, and had to return it. I had one guy even posted a receipt along with it. I mentioned on Biggie D's shows last week that he actually had his receipt, and Sam's Club honored his ability to return it. That was something that they did, and that is not what you want to see. From somebody who I really love my 4KP, I still think it's one of the best purchases that I've made in adulthood. Quite honestly, this is a device that I spend a lot of time on. I really enjoy it. Yeah, there's another one, PG. You're right, man. Fix Magic Castle. We still haven't got a fix on that either. I'm sorry that I didn't mention that earlier, but you're absolutely right. That should have been fixed. It feels like it's been about 3 weeks now? 3 weeks? A month? So it's getting a little long in the tooth. It needs to be fixed. I don't know, man. Biggie D's, welcome to the stream, man. We're just finishing up here. I was just about to come back to your channel. So, yeah, the 4KP is a great device. It's sad that it's had a very tough month and a half now. We're looking at 6 weeks now, really, since that firmware update. I wish I had the exact date on me, but, man, it's been a real struggle for some of the 4KP owners. Definitely check out all the content that I did this week, and if you like any of this stuff, make sure that you're liking and subscribing. I'm still pushing to get to 450. I'm really, really close, and then we'll start pushing towards 500. Hopefully by the end of the year, I want to be at 500 and kind of see where that goes. But thank you guys for all coming out. That's the end of this week's episode of the Pinball Post, and we will see you next time. Now remember, you only need one ball for greatness. Keep plunging, guys, and we'll see you next time.